Have you guys ever heard of the idea of glamour labor? Glamour labor, as written by Elizabeth Wessinger, is she describes it as the work of trying to present your body as a highly edited, filtered, and palatable by social media standards. And she wrote this piece, and in it she discusses how we've gotten to a point in society where instead of accessories, like our bodies are the accessories, and now we sort of just like shape our bodies and change our bodies in order to fit new trends. And there was a report about how Ozempic was going to hold people back from being able to feast during Thanksgiving because so many Americans are on weight loss drugs. And so, how do you guys feel about the idea of glamour labor and having to mold yourself, mold your body to fit different standards, or how are you witnessing it?
Mm.
Yeah, I actually got started in activism when I was a teenager. I started a really viral campaign against the clothing company Abercrombie and Fitch because they didn't want plus size people wearing their clothing. Netflix made a movie about it. Check it out. And and for me, I grew up. I in high school I was anorexic, and it almost cost me my life. And I was anorexic because I was trying to fit into societal molds that I was told I had to fit in. And what's so scary about today is that we're not, internet has always been about creating aspiration, but now we're telling young people to aspire to things that aren't even real. The actual thing they're aspiring towards is not real. It's not reality. And so they say, why doesn't my skin look like that? Because the person you're looking at, their skin doesn't look like that either.
Right.
And it's really a scary time. And it's hard to have these narratives. You talk about Ozempic. I get an Ozempic ad, when I walk into the subway, when I turn on my computer. Ozempic gives people eating disorders. That's what Ozempic does. It causes you to lose your appetite and restrict your intake, and that is how you lose weight. That is an eating disorder. And so it's really a scary time. There have been attempts at passing legislation that actually makes it a requirement to show if an image has been altered, and I actually think that's a great idea. But the truth is that all of us now are becoming brands. We're not people anymore. We're just brands. And when we start to lose that humanity and instead become a commodity, what we allow ourselves to be is just another tool in the insidious nature of capitalism. And it's disgusting. And it's hard for me as a very self-realized person. I can't imagine what it's like for a teenager on the internet today, aspiring to be something that is literally just not real.
It's all made us sheep. But the way I've experienced it is that queer men are so addicted to like brands, and they all wear the same things. They all believe that their main focus in life is what they look like. It has made them less capable of being their best selves because they're so enslaved by what they want to be perceived like, how they are perceived. And it's become sort of it is the underpinning of the problem and of what we're witnessing, of like low information. Why are we so low information? Why are all of these incredible, like why are huge powers occupying us so deeply? It's because we are all so sold on the idea that we are to be more physically and be more appealing, be all of these things that capitalism tells us that we're not. And it's made us, not only has it made us very, very boring, it's made us also very, very stupid. And it's also made us very vulnerable. And I think that the problem with glamour labor is that it's just another manufactured way of enslaving us and entrenching us in a system that makes all of the best parts of us resources that we kind of give up. And we sell for very little in return.
Yeah.
If not nothing.
So, Elisa, I had a question for you.
Okay, go.
I had a question for you specifically.
Yeah.
Well, this is a paper. This paper is also from, I think, 2018. But in it, Elisa was talking about Elisa. You're Elisa. In it, Elizabeth, the writer, was discussing glamour labor specifically in the age of the Kardashians and sort of how they lead the way and they decide what the new model, what the new body is going to be. And we've seen their transition. We've seen Kim Kardashian go from looking like, a regular valley girl to the big voluptuous body to now everyone's going right back to the
Right.
slim
Right back to the white
figure
room.
with
Back to
the
whiteness.
with the petite BBL because
That was
Come on,
petite
petite
BBL.
BBL.
you know, because I mean Kim got what she needed though. And I said this in last week's episode. She connected herself to a billionaire black man and used him to get access to rooms, and now that she's done with that, she doesn't need the gaze of black people anymore. And I 100% believe that that's what it was. But people are following suit. So as a woman, do you see bodies and images in the world around you and feel like it is laborious to try and keep up?
Of course. I think, I mean, look, I love a good filter. Don't get me wrong. So, like, I'm not, but I am also at a point in my life where I'm also not, I don't have a problem with you seeing me without the filter, right? So I'll post a picture with one, post a picture without one, because I'm not ashamed of what I really look like. But that's a journey, right? That I think young people, when they're teenagers, are at this sort of precipice and this sort of climax of this like self-confidence journey. And they spend more time on the internet, I would imagine, on social media, where nothing is real. And so I could see how it causes people's self-esteem issues, how people try and mimic their bodies to what they're seeing on magazine covers or on movies, you know, in movies, what have you. But personally, I think this happens a lot when you like look at yourself, right? When you like the Kardashians who are on TV all the time, they probably are always looking at themselves and being critical of themselves and being like, oh, I would rather look this way or that way. But
I just find it fascinating that they look at their bodies as like a never-ending project.
and they also have the money to do it, right? And
But
I
also
think,
society, it's
Yeah.
like like the Kardashians are problematic for many ways. I've met Kim, she's a lovely woman, whatever, very nice. But the thing is, like, they're still people. And celebrities are people. And I know our last topic is about a celebrity, but like I really think it's important that we remember that they also still have societal pressures on them.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
To-
waste of resources.
It's wild. And so even when you are deemed one of the most famous women in the entire world, you know,
For your
you know,
looks.
for your looks, and people would, you know, I don't even want to know what men do thinking about Kim Kardashian, and still you don't feel good enough, and still you feel the need to change. Then imagine a 13-year-old.
Yeah, right.
You know, and it's about more. It's a deeper issue that our society, diet culture, all of these things, again, it goes back to money. These are multi-billion-dollar industries.
You know, I think though that I'm not going to blame the Kardashians for us not raising our children to understand that they're beautiful no matter how they look, no matter what shape of their body is or what color of their hair is or their eyes. Like, we have to do better as people who raise children.
Well, I would recommend you. It's a really, really, really great piece, and I would recommend you read it because she's actually not blaming the Kardashians as much as she is saying exactly what
a
Benjamin is
symptom.
saying. Like, it's literally like
They're just a part
we're
of
able to like look at, instead of looking at these people on TV and being like, I should be like them. Why don't we look at them and focus on the fact that like they're really trying to just like keep up this image.
They're trying to keep up.
They
with
don't even
our-
want to
yeah.
be
They
like
want
them.
our
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
They
want
don't
our
even, but
attention.
it's like they don't even want to be like them.
Yeah.
The people who are changing their bodies, who are filtering, they don't even want to be like them. We're all aspiring to be someone else. What if we just aspired to be ourselves? And you talk about parents, it's true, but the sad thing is that so many of those parents still have the same trauma. And it was from their parents, and it was from their parents, until we
Right.
break the cycle as a society, until we start seeing, we don't see bald guys on television. We don't see fat people in TV shows, hardly ever. And when it is, it's a joke. And so until we see all types of people represented in culture and society, we're going to continue to instead
You don't
be...
think that we're making a little progress? And I'm talking
Yeah.
specifically about like in the modeling world, I've seen so many different like shapes, sizes, people with different types of like mobility capabilities now on runways.
But it's
on
usually a
magazines. So
gimmick. Like, that's the hard part, is it's
I don't know
usually
if it's
a gimmick.
done like from a genuine place
Yeah.
more than it is to like be like inclusive and like,
Yeah,
you know.
but to be diverse but not inclusive, and people
Yeah.
mess these letters up. But diversity is what everyone's striving for, but they're not creating an inclusive world that lets the diversity thrive. And diversity is just an abundance of others. It's a difference. But inclusion means that we create a space where people are included. And so you can have a fat person on a TV show, But when they're making self-deprecating jokes about themselves, that's not an inclusive environment for them. And so it's hard because there's so much nuance here and it's systemic. And we have all these issues that are systemic. And how do we break down systemic issues starting at the community level up? And it will take hard conversations. It will take parents. It will take all of us like just acknowledging sometimes like I'm not perfect. So I stopped filtering my photos because this is what I look like. And if you don't like it, it doesn't really matter to me.
The majority of people don't look like the Kardashians.
Yeah.
So
the Kardashians don't look like the Kardashians.
Yeah,
they edit their own photos poorly. We see all those photos, Khloe's arms over here and shit. You know, they don't even look like the Kardashians.
Kim Kardashian is a very smart person. Imagine if all of her focus and her entire energy was able, because I don't think it's her fault, was able to be focused on how incredibly cunning she is, right? Like all of this backbending and making such a success out of herself is because she kind of knows what is needed. She's meeting those expectations, but those expectations are corrupt to begin with, which are that she has to be beautiful to have our attention.
But it's true. It's like we'd say like, well, if only she would have done this, but if she wouldn't have done what she did, she wouldn't be who she is. And in return, she makes a lot of money. And money rules so many of the decisions we make. And we have to acknowledge that celebrities often make choices based on what society requires of them to continue to have the power.
Most of these things are meaningless. Like,
and they
the
are
power
meaningless.
that we speak of, like all of this influence, like what is it doing for who? And like why?
Exactly.
Like I like the next person would love to be appealing to everybody. Like I love the idea of being like good looking to other people. That's great. But it doesn't make me more helpful.
It's also subjective though.
Like, yeah, so what I'm saying is that it's like meaningless in the end because in the end,
you look great to me. You know what else looks great to me? The last topic of the
Yes.
episode.